World's Worst Radio Show, hosted by MVA Joshua. What are we going to do? We're going to play a record. Franklin, Building in A and E. Jason, what's up? We're listening to this Franklin record again. And I think my plan is to talk about perspective and DIY stuff in regards to quarantine land, coronavirus, all that good stuff. Paul, what's up? I got my iced coffee. Franklin, 1998 is when this record is from. Produced by legendary dub producer Scientist. We're going to talk about perspective and whatnot. Because for some reason I'm very pumped up today. But we're gonna let this song play for a little bit first. If anybody has questions though, or topics of discussion, feel free to throw them out. Because actual people being live get priority. The thing I am excited about is that while I was working in the background, I was able to edit the first 3 episodes of World's Worst Radio Show for YouTube. So I'm pumped on that. We should find a quiet record to play during that talking episode of this deal. Sure. This unwound record might do the trick. We'll find out. There's just amazing crunchy drum stuff happening on this record. I think more bands should have worked with actual dub producers. Ralph, I wish you were on here listening to this. See if the interior thing is nice. I was gonna say, very kind of 90s looking photo treatment insert, but actually it looks like a contemporary metalcore record, so that's kind of funny. Recorded on my birthday in 1997. These guys were really fun to see live because their gaps between songs were so long because they had like notebooks with all the settings that the guitars had to be changed to. The bass in here is fantastic. Who put this record out? This was on, it's on File 13 and Spectra Sonic Sound in Canada, who put out the Okara and 30-second motion picture albums. This might be mellow enough, actually, right here to talk over. Yeah, I love this record. File 13 were originally from Arkansas. And then File 13 actually multiple people owned it during its time. So it started out in Arkansas. That label, Chino Horde, members of that label, that band might have owned it first. And then Justin from what's that record? Van Thumbnail, Justin, I can't remember Justin's name. He runs it now. I don't know if he was the one who ran it in Philly, but he had it, and then he may have had it running out of Knoxville for a while. Now it's out of Chicago. It's kind of like it gets handed down from one person to the next to kind of entrust with the legacy. How long have we been going for? A couple minutes? Just kind of chill for a minute. God, I wish you could adjust the exposure. It would be so nice. And this thing officially has a name. It is officially the world's worst radio show. It should be called the world's worst video show, but that's not as funny. I suppose none of it's funny. Walk the puppy soon. So the thing that I'm thinking about is it's kind of prompted by a few different things. We live, obviously, like what we're going through creates this situation where there's very few people on the planet right now whose schedule didn't massively open up because of what's happening. But a huge part of it, not only did your schedule open up, like work-wise, a huge, I would think the majority of people, probably not the majority, but a huge number of people, your schedule's opened up. Like for me, just at a really basic level, it typically took 40 minutes to drive to work, 40 minutes to get home. Omar Luna, what's up? If I took a lunch break, that was another hour. So just right off the bat, you're looking at like 2.5 to 3 hours of kind of weird downtime that I'm a weirdo was sort of productive, but not nearly as productive as it has been right now. So that time opens up, and then what ends up happening is like you have this time. On top of that, all your normal social life is opened up. Like you can't do this. You're debating whether it's a good idea to go to the grocery store. Like normally, if I need 3 things, I just go to Target. And now it's like, let's wait till Sunday and see what the delivery service can find. And then I'll go to the grocery store, and hopefully they'll have the stuff that I want. So all of a sudden it's like you're shopping once a week or less. So that's just massive amounts of time. Never mind, you're not going out to dinner, you're not going to the gym, you're not going to concerts, like just all this time. But it seems like what a lot of people are filling it up with is this barrage of bad news. I don't listen to the news unless I walk through the kitchen and it is playing. I find that the really bad news, one way or another, is going to find its way to me. And that in general, the bad news doesn't affect a single goddamn thing that is happening in my life day to day, because I'm already stuck, just like you, I'm already stuck in the house, or I'm already stuck in this new routine. So when I hear that some official is throwing out this insane number of, maybe 100 to 200,000 people are going to die next week, which one is not going to fucking happen to begin with, but that all gets thrown out there, and that doesn't help me. Unless I change my line of work, 100,000 people dying, it's horrible if it happens, but materially, day to day, it doesn't affect me, except if I am aware of it, it affects my mental state. But it doesn't affect any of the things that I can or cannot do in my life, because even if no one dies next week, we're still on lockdown. So, my first and foremost thing that I beg of anyone listening is stop watching the goddamn news. Stop listening to the news. It's not helping the situation. It is essentially you're taking all this free time that is opened up, whether you wanted it or not, and filling it up with this nightmare scenario. And the second perspective shift I might throw out there is this. People are listening to the news in hopes that there's going to be good news. There's not going to be good news for a very long time. So shut the news off and assume the worst. That's how... There's obviously lots of ways to get through this, but that is going to be the way to get through this most painlessly. It's hard to be screwed by things if you're assuming the worst. I'm working for a chain restaurant right now. This is not a great time. I'm not going to be remotely shocked if I'm unemployed next week. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily interviewing for jobs, but I am steeling myself, getting my nerves in order for if that happens. And I find that if in general you allow yourself not to be constantly shocked by how much worse this is getting, you can focus on the things that you actually need to do. We have a comment, totally true. The news is hilarious. Most of the articles have no use for anybody and they only exist just to fearmonger. The same media that a couple weeks ago was trying to convince us that we just had to lock down for 2 weeks is now telling us 100,000 people are going to die in a week. Both are wrong. They're always wrong. And the really bad stuff that matters, it always finds its way to you. So that is one thing. It's helping me because in general I don't think about coronavirus beyond the work scenario and the fact that my wife has it. Otherwise, it's a non-issue in my life because I've just assumed that what we're doing now, this is reality for the time being. It will be dope when it's not, but if I accept it, it's dope while it is. I get that not everybody can do that, but you're going to be able to sort out a lot of your internal matters a lot better if you're not focused on a bunch of stuff that you can't control and that ultimately materially doesn't affect you. And obviously at some point someone you know or care about will probably die, and in which case that's an entirely different scenario. But the idea of sitting around being fearful of the fact that bad shit is happening, that is going to happen regardless, yeah, let it go. One idea. The other thing that I am thinking about, and I'm thinking about it a lot from doing what I've been doing here every day now for, I guess, only 2 weeks. Maybe it's been 3 weeks actually. Regardless, doing this thing every day, and in part revisiting these old records. So we have, for example, this isn't what we're playing, but this Harriet the Spy 7-inch, and this thing is cool as hell. It's screen printed on manila envelopes. It's got all these cool inserts from Kinko's. They're probably made by teenagers at the Kinko's or FedEx, as you might refer to it. And this thing is like the model for what you should be doing right now, at least according to Mr. Know-It-All, which is that you've got this time opened up, and it feels like too many people are going in two directions with it. One is obsessively listening to the news and being scared and frightened and stressed out and probably going gray at this very moment. And then you have this other thing. People are like, what should I binge watch right now? Like, yo, you shouldn't be binge watching anything you wouldn't normally be binge watching. You should be doing whatever you were doing in your life before. The shit that is unproductive, do the same amount, and then stop making excuses because now hours in the day have opened up. Please take advantage of that. You know, it's like we were living in this ridiculously special time to begin with. Right now, it doesn't matter how many people are watching this, I am broadcasting for free. And yes, I had to buy an iPad. Okay, so I'm broadcasting for whatever $700 prorated over 4 years might be. And I'm recording it additionally on an iPhone, again for free, that I can use a free piece of software to edit it and then upload it to YouTube again for free. This record that these teenagers made, none of this shit was free. They had to work jobs as dishwashers and newspaper delivery kids and mow lawns, and then they could make this record. And still they had to do stuff like, it's cool that it's in a manila envelope, but here's why it's in a manila envelope. If they wanted to print a proper 7-inch with like a proper cover, these kids who don't know anything about printing probably have to go to a place and buy 1,000 copies minimum. And on top of that, so they got to go and make 1,000 7-inch records, which aren't cheap. 1,000 of these things. They can't afford 1,000 full color covers, but they can buy boxes of manila envelopes at the office supply store. Through their art department at school, they can figure out how to screen print it. They can figure out how to make these inserts at Kinko's. And then they can trade these records to other people who put out records or sell them to people. And if they don't sell them, it's a serious expenditure of money. This is why I try to make as much stuff as I do, because I remember doing this. I remember working jobs for minimum wage, and I would get myself through it by thinking about how many unbroken 7-inches I could buy off 31G records with the amount of money I'd made that day. You know, making 3 something an hour and being like, okay, the wholesale rate is $1.50. If I can get to $30, I can buy 20 unbroken 7-inches, and then I've got something to sell. The manila envelope thing was one of the really kind of great innovations. I've put out records. It was expensive. There wasn't like a website to sell it on. Like, you made records and you wrote letters to people and were like, hey, I made this record. You'd send them a cassette tape of the record because the record was too expensive to just send them out willy-nilly. You had to pay to do everything, and even the things you didn't have to pay to do, you had to come up with a scam to get them for free. So I try to remember that I need to take advantage of every single fucking thing available to me, because they didn't used to be available. And at some point, like if we hit a real economic downturn, YouTube will be gone. YouTube will be gone for this simple reason. They're paying thousands of people to screen uploads for pornography and videos of people torturing animals. At some point that becomes unfinancially stable and it's not free anymore. And it's eventually it's only the corporations that have made media for God knows how many decades. Eventually they are going to own this thing. They're going to own YouTube. All these crazy opportunities, they're all going to be gone. Again, I try to assume the worst and operate within the opportunity I have at the moment. I'm going to use a good example. Spotify. So lots of old people complain about Spotify's royalty rates because those old people are still firmly planted in a world that doesn't exist. You can make a song tomorrow. You can pay your $10 a year to DistroKid, and DistroKid will upload that for you to Spotify and Apple Music and Pandora and anywhere else you want. And then someone, maybe one of your friends, will listen to your song on Spotify and you will make this little tiny bit of revenue. Nothing earth-shattering in little tiny numbers, but you will get paid. So they have this completely stupid service where they didn't ask you for the thing you put on it and they pay you for it. That's amazing. That's going to end. There's no world where that lasts because it's dumb. It's so dumb. YouTube doesn't do that, right? YouTube, your videos have to at least prove that they can make money off ads. So all these like crazy opportunities, and at this moment in time where your schedule has opened up, turn off the news and make the things that you've been thinking about making. And if you haven't been thinking about making stuff during this time, then get back to doing it. Like, even if what you do is you simply use all of this stuff to stay in touch with people, that's incredible. Do that then. But all these moments will pass. There's going to be a bunch of people that when they work back in an office and they remember how much fucking time is wasted in meetings and in the kitchen and walking to and from their car and driving the car and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to be like, God damn, I lost out on a ton of what was potentially productive time because I was either freaking out or I buried my head in the sand and I binge watched everything on Netflix. That's the big thing that I have to say for this particular episode is if you're old like me and you're not using these platforms, and I say old, I'm 43, you're screwing up. And on top of that, if you're too young to realize the opportunity, trust me, there's this massive opportunity here. It hasn't been here forever and it won't be here forever. It will be gone. Now, benefit to me of thinking like this is I get to make a bunch of stuff right now. The benefit to me of thinking like this is that if it never goes away, I was way more productive than everybody else because I constantly thought this shit is ending. That's that. We're gonna play a record. Let's play this record by these teenagers from Ohio, Harriet the Spy. It's just probably from 1993, I would guess. No idea if this record is still good. The packaging is amazing. After work, okay? Have 5. In about 20 minutes. Close that door and I'll be up. Just pull it.
There's the doorknob!
If anybody's got questions, ask them. Just leave it. It's fine. Thanks, noise. Completely forgot what this record sounds like, but it's killer. There is both an MBA Joshua YouTube. That content is more general creative stuff or like toxic workplaces. And then there's an MBA Studio YouTube, which is going to be 3 words, the MBA Studio. That is usually stuff from class or long form kind of video mixtapes, like 15 minutes of this and 15 minutes of that, something else. Man, I like this record. I think this was another one that was in the sell pile, but I think it might come out of the sell pile. Can't read any of it. It's making me blind. I think Jamie Stillman is in this band, I think. Let's find out. I like each song has its own lyric sheet. This is one of those things I loved about these DIY records from the 90s is you open them up and shit just fell out of them. And then we got this great, so this was on Donut Friends Records, and it's got this great ad in it, all kind of collaged, handmade type. Probably Letraset, but I see some rubber stamps in there and stuff. Funny clip art. Yeah, I'm feeling this. This record is no longer for sale, world. You know what I have in a box right here is the last Honeywell recordings, a 4-song cassette tape, but I don't have a tape player right now. Let's see if we have the Honeywell album. Stace of Spades, what's up? We're listening to Harriet the Spy. If you have a question or anything related to creative work, have at it. Let's see, Honeywell. I'm sad to say, no Honeywell. You know what we have though? Volume 11, which I thought about playing, and now maybe we will. Where are you, Volume 11? I saw you. Let's listen. I've been thinking about listening to this Volume 11 record, so let's play that. So there's the artwork for this thing. Alright, Harriet the Spy, you're done. That was banging. Clear vinyl, nice. You never know. I think this is on, I don't remember what label this is on. Probably Brian Roediger's label. So this is Volume 11. I believe that Volume 11 was... I'm pretty sure it was 3/4 of Honeywell. Kind of thrashy. Oh, you can totally tell it's the same. At least Bobby Sell from Honeywell. Yeah, Brian Roediger. I think this is on his label. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. Let's see. So we got Ryan Hildebrand, Kevin Wright. God, I can't read this. Bobby Moon, Brandon Phillips. Oh, they got like ridiculous names on here. It's killing me that I can't figure out what frickin' label this is on. If it's not Brian's label, it's Sound Virus might have put this out. Sound Virus, yeah. And they have another record, but I have it framed somewhere. I wonder if they put this out. Let's see, songs 1 to 6. This is from 1997. This is dope. I don't know, but I can't find any context on the label. I do like that it's a top-loading 12-inch. That's a kind of cool feature. Oh wait, there's another insert. Check this out. I get these on. 3D artwork. Oh, that's sick. How did I not know that? 'Cause This was in the cell pile, but this may have also just got rescued. This is how you get rid of listeners, so you play this record. Yeah, these guys are funny characters. When I produced the DIY album art record and I wanted to put the some Honeywell record in it, and they were funny because they were like, you can put it in, but we won't sign a release. Oh wait. Oh, I thought I could read this for a second. I think this is a Honeywell song. That's a little too aggro for my show, though. So, that was volume 11, Members of Honeywell. Oh yeah, this is Handheld Heart, which was Brian Rodinger, the now Grammy award-winning Designers record label. At the time, he was probably most known for being in the band This Machine Kills. Let's play one other record. How about a current record? Not current like the current year, but current like the band current. This is Current is 4. Their final 7-inch. Oh yeah, it's Debossed. Current were a super interesting band from Michigan. They weren't around very long. They were very ambitious, I think, in terms of like musically. They were really good. Let's put all this away. I don't know if it's loud enough. I'll make it louder.
We all have our liabilities and assets as you have yours and I have mine.
Current is 4. This is what we're listening to. Their last 7-inch. I think it was probably posthumous. I believe they were done already. Packaging is so nice. It's just a piece of chipboard, debossed, with a rubber stamp on the back. And I think there's something really nice about that because of the fact that other Current stuff was this heavily kind of DIY operation. This is a good example. The 2-color. Well, this is funny. The back is a 2-color screen print on paper, and then the front is a photocopy glued to that, or it's a sticker. And what's cool about that is, you know, it's this cream off-white thing, and then they get a pure white in here. It's a very kind of subtle tonal thing. And a big part of the like 90s DIY package thing is people who aren't designers figuring out how to put things together without using that traditional means. Dude. So, the question, do you have that Sleeping Body 7-inch? I listened to that Sleeping Body 7-inch, and I fucking hate that Sleeping Body 7-inch. The whole time I listened to it, I thought, dear God, this sucks. And I listened to the whole thing. It's been relegated to the cell pile. recorded summer 1994. Very DC-ish. Oh, this is kind of nice. I didn't even notice this. More rubber stamps on the inside with the track titles. You can buy it off me. Make me an offer. Alright, I'll play it right now, but I really thought it sucked. I did not like it. And I think Vermin Scum is a label I sort of consider myself like, oh, I collect Vermin Scum stuff, and that didn't say that. We'll let this song play out though. Wait, how are we doing on time? We're good. This is a noise rock record? I don't know, I just felt like it was an annoying hardcore record. Like an annoying arty hardcore record. Alright, so that's Current. I really like this record. I haven't listened to Current in maybe 20 years. I listened to them on Spotify recently and was really stoked. Their LP is fantastic. It's not quite, it's a little bit maybe derivative of like Jawbox, but still really good. Let's take a chance on something. Mohinder, Nitwits, split 7-inch. Let's find out if this goes in the sell pile. Right now it's not in the sell pile because Mohinder were on Gravity and because I love stuff on Repercussion Records. I definitely haven't listened to this since 1990 something. For some reason I still keep it in a box 2 feet away from me though. This is dope. The recording sucks. Sean the other day. That's what this reminds me of. That's awesome. This record is beat up though. Yeah, this is dope. I'm down with this record. I'm intrigued as to whether I'll hate the other side of it though. What's this? There's an insert. Oh. Just a little Repercussion Records insert. This stuff between songs is awesome. Pretty unconventional for the time too. Or Bill Clinton up in there. What is it called? The LP, the 7-inch LP. Alright, so make me an offer on this thing. Actually, if you're listening to this after the fact, feel free to make an offer on any of these records. What do I do that with? I'm trying to think what record I buy whenever I see it. Probably the UOA CD. I buy copies of that if I see them used. I really like this. A lot of these records I'm seriously afraid to listen to because I think that they'll be so disappointing. When I listen to the Nitwit side, I don't even know if I listened to this when it came out. I don't think I care. Probably once. Oh wait, it's 33. That's nice. I buy what book do I buy? The David Carson photographics book. If I see those used, I buy them so I can give them to people. And God, man, oh fuck this! All right, we need one more record. We gotta go out on a high note. Let's see what we got here. I'll be quick. How about, you know what? I've been thinking about this for a minute. Last time I talked through it, so we're not going to talk through it this time. Kerosene 454, Injection. Last record of the day, last song of the day. Yeah, I edited the video where we were listening to this and I was mad at myself for talking during it. Busted. That's alright. So, Kerosene 454, Came By to Kill Me. Super weird design on this record. The artwork on the front is not blurred. It's 3 or 4 instances of like italic Helvetica extended with a drop shadow, so it looks blurry. Nah. Does it feel slow? Oh yeah. And then the cover photo pops over to the back, stops, and then is labeled like in the wrong spot. It almost feels like the cover is supposed to come down and this stuff's supposed to be at the bottom, and then there's this little tiny block of a photograph scratched into it that says Came By to Kill Me, and I love it. It's so counterintuitive. Everything about it is counterintuitive. I don't remember what the insert looks like. Oh, the insert's just like I think it's just Alex Dunham's handwriting, and then it's just kind of taped together. It says Jason. Oh, this is a trip actually. So flip it, and then this side's super nice. So this is where the design and layout, this so makes sense. I thought this handwriting was Jason Farrell. So it says design and layout Jason Peterson. Jason Peterson was the singer of Wind of Change, the band that the Wall Brothers, who are 2 of the members of this band, were in. That band itself is kind of a trip. Trying to see how close I get to where you can actually, where it's in focus. So it's like the same handwriting from the Hoover LP, which I always thought was Jason Farrell. So Wind of Change, Jason Peterson was the singer of Wind of Change. Alex Dunham of Hoover, Regulator Watts, Abilene, etc. was the guitarist. And then Jim and John Wall were like the other guitarist and the bass player. And so they all went on to do big things. Jason Peterson became a designer, started an ad agency, sold it for $1 bazillion around 2000, and now he's like takes black and white photos on Instagram and has like 1.5 million followers or something very strange and random, and he runs an ad agency now. So that's neat because I always thought it was Jason Farrell, but the handwriting is Alex Dunham's. And so, I don't have printouts of it, but the Abilene record we're doing, the reissue, everything is Alex's handwriting, which is very nice. I must have heard this song live maybe 3 or 4 times. Every time it was different. So good. Sometimes it stretched on for so long. The other member of Wind of Change was Eric Astor, who was later in Samuel and started Art Monk Construction Records. So that band, let's turn it up. Wind of Change were oddly a big deal. They were invited to play Youth of Today's last show to open for them. Hold on, you gotta stay back because I can't post the video if you're in it.
What video?
The video of the radio show. I don't like to have my kids out on YouTube. Make her dance.
I put lip balm on here. Put lip balm on here.
She's only in it for 5 seconds. I won't feel too bad. This is almost over. We're winding it down.
I put my lip balm on her lips and put my stuff on her eyes.
Nice.
And I gave her the headband that could go on me or the dog.
Go find some socks and go for a walk. You can take that upstairs. That's fine. Oh, who else is on with us? Oh, Kim Whaley, still there. She just left. We're winding down. The World's Worst Radio Show. Be back Monday, 4 p.m. Central Time. If you're watching this on YouTube, look up MBA Joshua on Instagram and follow me there. Join me in these lives. If you have a question, send it through. If this video is up on YouTube, you can always leave a comment as a way of asking a question, and eventually it will show up. That sounds kind of nice. Maybe we just let that. We got 1 minute and 30 remaining on our Instagram. Nice little instrumental track to wind it down. I like a record that brings back memories and is a good record. Jason, thanks for joining me as always. Kim, love you. Everybody else that hopped on, all people that kind of become regulars. Doug, Elijah, everybody, 2 thumbs up.